You scroll through your feed right now, and the noise is just deafening,
Oh, it's everywhere.
right? Everyone is shouting about this magic button of AI automation.
Mm-hmm.
They claim they have, 50 AI agents doing all their work. They tell you they're just sitting on a beach somewhere making millions.
Right, just completely hands off.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But let's be honest, most of that is a lie. Beat.
it really is. It's a complete fabrication. I mean, it's a modern gold rush fantasy, right?
Yeah.
And it's built on top of fundamentally broken architecture.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We are cutting through all that slop today
Yes, we are.
because our mission is to explore the 5 real rules for building with AI. And we want to ground this entire conversation in reality.
Which is so necessary right now.
It really is. So we're looking at the story of Max Brodeur-Urbas. He's the CEO of Gumloop, and he took the hard road.
Mm.
He raised $50 million. He built an incredibly tight team of just 15 people.
That's the crazy part, just 15.
Right. And they process 4 million automated workflows every single day.
And he didn't achieve that scale by pressing some magic button, you know? He did it by deeply understanding the foundational logic of the work itself.
I want to start by dismantling that social media myth we mentioned. You see these course bros online constantly.
Oh, the course bros.
They promise you can build a $10 million company over the weekend.
Right, just by buying their PDF.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They show you a flashy screen with dozens of autonomous agents supposedly talking to each other, and they tell you to just copy and paste their workflow and wait for the money to roll in.
Max actually coined a great term for this whole phenomenon. He calls it a slot machine.
A slot machine. I like that.
It's perfect, right? Because the reality is these massive multi-agent systems are incredibly fragile.
Right.
I mean, they look wildly impressive on a highly edited YouTube tutorial.
Sure.
But in the real world, they break the second a minor variable changes.
So why do these complex multi-agent systems break down so easily in the real world?
Because without a foundational understanding of the underlying steps, you can't guide the AI. When variables change, it just panics.
You can't successfully automate a process you don't actually understand.
Exactly. It's like cooking, right? AI automation is simply a tool to make a smart person faster. It cannot mask a lack of underlying knowledge. If you don't know how to cook, buying a faster, hotter stove isn't going to help you make a 5-star meal.
Right.
You're just going to burn the food much faster.
You just end up with a burnt mess in record time.
Precisely. You have to know the recipe before you turn up the heat.
But that creates a massive problem for the user, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, if they can't rely on a massive 50-agent system to just do the thinking for them, how are they supposed to even start building this out? Because Max talks about this concept of throwing yourself into the ether.
Yeah, throwing yourself into the ether. It's about recognizing your specific window of opportunity. There are periods in your life with extremely low liability. Maybe you don't have a mortgage yet.
Right.
Maybe you don't have kids. That is the time to take massive, uncomfortable risks. You just have to start building.
I still wrestle with waiting for the perfect idea myself.
Oh, we all do. It's human nature.
It feels so much safer to just sit back and plan, to build a massive roadmap rather than put something flawed out there.
The urge to plan is incredibly seductive. People hide behind it all the time.
Yeah.
They write these 50-page business plans outlining every possible scenario, but that's essentially just procrastination in disguise.
Right.
The market doesn't care about your beautifully formatted document.
I get that, but if business plans are out, what does a valid first step actually look like?
It's just building a simple workflow that saves you 10 minutes a day and then putting it in front of a real person.
Start small, save 10 minutes, and test it with real users immediately.
Exactly. It's the only reliable way to gather actual data. Everything else is just you guessing in a vacuum.
Right. And when you jump into the ether like that, building rapidly without a massive safety net, you are going to fail.
Oh, 100%. You will fail.
But the framing here is fascinating because failure isn't this terrible accident. You're actively hunting for failure.
Max's early journey illustrates this perfectly, actually. He didn't just casually stumble into a $50 million idea on his first try.
Right.
In a very compressed time frame, he built a ton of tools that completely bombed.
Wow.
Yeah, he built software for video games. He built tools to stop web scams. He built bot detection systems.
And he was building these fast, sometimes in just a single week, right?
He had to, because when nobody bought them, he needed to move on immediately.
Right.
He proved himself wrong as quickly as humanly possible. Rapid failure is highly efficient.
It saves you from wasting 6 grueling months polishing a terrible idea that no one even asked for.
Exactly. Which is how he eventually found the actual pain point. He was spending time in Discord groups dedicated to tools like AutoGPT.
Let's clarify that term real quick for you listening.
Yep.
AutoGPT is an AI that tries completing complex tasks entirely on its own.
Right. And Max noticed a very consistent pattern of frustration in those groups. Regular people were struggling immensely. They didn't know how to code. They couldn't navigate complex developer terminals.
Right, it's too technical.
Exactly. But the biggest issue was the unpredictability. The agents were entirely too random.
They would just talk in circles instead of actually executing the work.
Yeah, they'd get stuck in these endless feedback loops. Max realized people were desperate for reliability, not creativity. They didn't want a chaotic robot brainstorming ideas, so he built a system that rigidly chained steps together.
Step 1, then step 2.
And step 3, exactly, violently remove the randomness.
So why is randomness such a massive enemy when building an automation tool?
Because users are looking for a guaranteed result every time they push a button, not a creative conversation.
People want a reliable engine, not a creative conversationalist.
Exactly. They want a tractor. They don't want a poet. Mid-roll sponsor read goes here.
So you spend time hunting for failure, and you eventually build this reliable engine. You chain the steps together.
Right.
The next hurdle is scaling it. And the traditional narrative tells us that scaling is all about networking, right?
Oh, yeah. The Silicon Valley playbook.
Exactly. It's about flying to San Francisco, shaking hands, pitching venture capitalists at expensive dinners. But Max's reality was the exact opposite.
He literally couldn't network even if he wanted to. Max was stuck in Canada.
Really?
Yeah, he was actually banned from entering the U.S. for 5 years over a very minor border issue.
Wow. That sounds like a total nightmare for a tech founder.
Yeah.
You're locked out of the biggest tech hub on the planet.
On paper, it's a complete career ender. While everyone else was out having those expensive dinners, mingling with angel investors.
He was isolated.
Completely isolated. He was forced to sit alone in a small room and just write code. But looking back, he calls this isolation a massive gift.
Because it violently eliminated all the usual startup distractions.
It forced extreme focus. He wasn't getting high on people praising his theoretical ideas at cocktail parties, you know?
Right.
He had to let the product do all the heavy lifting. And when you sit in a room and build a tool that actually helps massive giants like Shopify or Instacart, the network builds itself around you.
Whoa. Imagine scaling to 4 million daily tasks from a tiny room in Canada.
It's a profound shift in leverage. And because he had that immense undeniable leverage,
Processing 4 million complex tasks every single day?
the power dynamic completely flipped. He didn't have to go begging for seed money.
Right.
The investors actually came knocking on his door in Canada. That's how he raised the $50 million.
How exactly does a product find its own users without a massive sales push?
When a tool undeniably fixes a severe pain point, early users become your most aggressive salespeople.
A product that truly solves real pain will naturally sell itself.
Exactly. It becomes indispensable to their daily routine. That forces explosive organic growth.
But reaching that kind of incredible scale, hitting 4 million tasks a day without the system collapsing, that is mathematically impossible if your product produces that fragile slop we talked about earlier.
Absolutely.
You really have to use AI as an enabler. It cannot be a crutch.
This is the critical divide in the tech industry right now. You have to ask yourself constantly, are you AI-enabled or are you AI-dependent?
Let's unpack that distinction.
Yeah.
What does being AI-enabled actually look like in practice?
Being AI-enabled means using the technology like a precision puzzle piece. It scales your existing hard-earned skills.
Right.
Take a highly skilled writer, for example. They deeply understand pacing, tone, and narrative structure. They use AI to gather research, outline concepts, and make their overall workflow 100 times faster.
But they strictly retain their unique voice.
Exactly. The AI is just leverage for their expertise.
And being AI-dependent is the exact opposite.
It is outsourcing your brain. It's letting the AI do absolutely everything from scratch because you lack the underlying skill to begin with.
Right.
That is how you generate that boring, robotic slop. It feels entirely fake.
Customers spot the lack of soul instantly.
Instantly. And the system breaks the moment a unique request comes in.
It's the stark difference between enforcing strict logic and just throwing lazy prompts at a wall.
The professionals enforce strict logic. Step
Hmm.
1, read the raw data. Step 2, extract the 3 key metrics. Step 3, format it into a very specific table.
Mm-hmm.
That creates a reliable core business tool. The lazy users just type, figure this out for me and write a report.
And the result is a messy, fragile nightmare that no one wants to read.
Exactly.
So how do you mentally check yourself to ensure you are being enabled rather than dependent?
You should always maintain mastery over the underlying logic. The AI should only execute the labor.
Keep control of the logic, let the AI handle the heavy lifting.
The second you outsource the logic, you lose the business.
Okay, so to maintain that level of strict logic at a massive scale, processing millions of tasks, you eventually need to build a team.
You do. You can't do it alone in a room forever.
Right. But standard job boards aren't going to attract the right kind of obsessive talent for this level of intensity.
No, they won't. Max treats hiring a lot like dating. He entirely bypassed traditional headhunters.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't post generic job ads on LinkedIn. He hired directly from his own fan base.
Wait, he hired his own users?
He did.
Doesn't that risk creating an echo chamber of yes men who just blindly praise the product?
It's not about blind praise. It's about a shared baseline of context. He found workers inside companies like Shopify and Instacart who were already using Gumloop heavily every single day.
Oh, to solve their own problems.
Exactly. They knew the product's flaws. They knew its potential. They loved the core utility so much they were willing to leave secure, highly paid corporate jobs to join a tiny, risky startup.
That is a fascinating strategy because they already have deep conviction in the mission.
Unshakable conviction. You don't have to spend a month onboarding them or desperately trying to explain the company vision in a slide deck.
Right, they already get it.
They deeply feel the mission in their bones. They aren't just punching a clock for a salary. They are actively building a tool they personally rely on.
And beyond the technical skills, Max uses something called a hanging out test, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It sounds informal, but it is ruthless.
Mm-hmm.
He asks himself one very simple question. Do I actually want to spend all day hanging out with this person?
Right.
High-stress startup environments demand resilient, positive energy. When servers crash at 2 in the morning, you're practically living with these people. You have to actually like them.
Why does hiring your own fans drastically reduce the need for daily management?
They already share your urgency and deeply understand the product's value proposition from a user's perspective.
Shared belief in the product eliminates the need for strict micromanagement.
You literally just point them in a general direction and get out of their way.
Okay, let's bring this all back down to earth for you listening right now.
Yeah, let's make it actionable.
How can you apply this strict logic and step-by-step methodology today without needing to quit your job, get locked in a room in Canada, and build a $50 million company?
Max has a very specific, actionable playbook for getting started.
Okay.
Rule number 1 is absolutely critical. Do not try to automate your entire job all at once.
That is the classic trap.
Yeah.
People watch one tutorial and try to replace their entire workflow by Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. It's way too overwhelming.
Right.
It leads straight to total burnout and frustration. Instead, you isolate one perfectly boring, highly repetitive task that takes you about 20 minutes a day.
Just 20 minutes.
Yeah, maybe it is sorting specific customer emails into folders.
Yeah.
Maybe it's summarizing weekly meeting transcripts or pulling contact info from a messy spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
Just isolate one tiny, annoying thing.
And rule number 2 is using the right tools to chain those steps together without needing to learn how to write code.
We are living in a golden age of accessible tools. You don't need a computer science degree anymore.
Right.
You can use Notion to organize your foundational logic and thoughts. You can use Gamma AI to instantly build slide presentations based on that logic.
And you can use Gumloop itself for chaining those step-by-step workflows together.
Yes. And for the really heavy lifting, the advanced reasoning tasks, you can tap into models like Manus AI or Kimi K2.5.
Mm-hmm.
The tools are all sitting right there, and they're completely accessible to anyone willing to learn the basic mechanics.
So what is the psychological benefit of starting with just a 20-minute task?
Because the task is small, when the AI makes an error, you can pinpoint the exact failure and fix it without getting overwhelmed.
Small tasks mean incredibly quick fixes when things inevitably go wrong.
And those quick, successful fixes build your confidence. You start seeing the matrix of how these tools actually connect.
So if we pull all of this together and look at the entire journey, AI automation is not really about the work magically disappearing so you can sit on a beach drinking margaritas.
Definitely not.
It's about the deeply boring, repetitive parts of the work going away. That clears the deck.
Mm-hmm.
It leaves you with the actual thinking parts, the deeply creative parts.
Mm-hmm.
True success in this space comes from understanding the fundamental logic of your work.
Yeah.
It comes from hunting for failure, listening closely to your users.
And methodically building step-by-step reliability instead of sitting around waiting for a magical 50-agent slot machine to save you.
The work is still the work.
Yeah.
You just have a much better, infinitely more powerful lever now.
Exactly. So the challenge for you today is simple. Sit down. Identify just one mind-numbing 20-minute task in your day and automate it.
Right.
Don't build a 50-page plan for it. Just do it today.
If AI perfectly handles all the boring, repetitive tasks, what happens to those quiet, mundane moments where our brains used to wander and accidentally stumble into our best, most creative ideas? Are we automating away our downtime? 2 sec silence. Out of Euro music.